Welcome to the Studio Chat podcast, the podcast designed to be your companion in the journey of self-discovery. I'm Barbara Thompson, your host and a dedicated therapist. I'm the founder and owner of Self-Care Studio, a private counselling practice. With my clients and courses that I create on this podcast, I'm committed to ensuring that you have the support that you need. I created this podcast as a space for you to feel a sense of connection and a reminder that you're not alone in this thing that we call life, this adventure. This podcast is your weekly reminder to trust yourself, live life authentically, and embrace the path that is uniquely yours. Together, we'll explore ways to break free from people-pleasing, overthinking, allowing you to claim your time and energy to live life on your terms. You'll be joined by myself as I take you through some episodes, or during the year I'll have some special self-care experts as guests on my podcast. So if you're ready to step into a life that's truly for you, join me on this journey. Let's navigate the twists and turns of life together, and more importantly, live your life for you. So thank you so much for choosing to spend some time with me today. Let the studio chat begin. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Studio Chat podcast. Today's going to be a little different. It's going to be you and I, and kind of on the eve of when I'm going to be launching my holistic health masterclass, all about us being in balance and then moving to harmony. Food is such a big part of that, and because I'm a certified nutritionist, sometimes I forget about that sometimes, but I'd love to start a series of podcasts with you, podcast episodes, to talk about like diet culture, food, nutrition, and all the science and all the information behind it. And, you know, some of it will resonate with you, some of it you may know, and some of it you may be like, oh, that's not for me. Oh, I like that, but I don't like that. And that's what this is all about. It's all about understanding kind of your step on this nutritional journey. Some of you may have worked with coaches and trainers and nutritionists and naturopaths. They're all fantastic. And especially when you find the right one that's for you. But I think part of what we miss sometimes is trusting ourselves that we know ourselves better than anyone, and learning about our food, learning about our bodies, that you've kind of got that in your toolkit as a great starting point, but also as a point that you can keep referring back to. So today we're going to talk about nutrition one-on-one, just some basic stuff about the nutrition, and we'll just go from there. So I think I'm really excited for you to discover the power that nutrition has. And firstly, in order to understand the power of nutrition, we need to understand its role that it currently plays in our lives. And at the moment, the modern food landscape we currently live in is really affecting our health, because for thousands of years we've evolved in kind of peaceful, untouched environments with natural foods, living close to nature, eating roots, vegetables, plants, nuts, seeds, superfoods, herbs, and some wild animals that we've gathered. Now, if you've worked with me before, or you've listened to a podcast, or you've done one of my courses, you'll be really familiar with what I say as our bodies and our brains haven't had an update. It hasn't really changed. And so we're kind of working with stuff, kind of like old software, like our brain and our bodies, but in today's world, if that makes sense. I think that's why we get this real mismatch. And there's so much information out there, but I don't know about you, but even with the knowledge I have, at times I can feel myself getting pulled into this vortex of diet culture or nutrition, or cut this out, or don't have this. And I know better, and I want to be able to give you these tools. So these episodes that I'm bringing to you all about nutrition and holistic health is just little bites of stuff that I hope that you can learn from, but also it's going to lead into my masterclass that I'm doing, and it's a 6-week online course. So, okay, heading back into our bodies. So we're hunter-gatherers, we're gardeners, and we ate a lot of foods back then that were free from toxins and really helped us live a life, our lives. And yes, there were some foods that were poisonous and dangerous, and we learned from them and evolved to, okay, we need to avoid those. And Also things like, I don't know about you, but a way of utilizing nuts and seeds is to be able to soak them first to remove the phytotoxins. And this will be more in my course. And this is for us to be able to produce or heat and cook our foods a certain way to remove certain toxins and really help them. The reason why we soak nuts and seeds is to remove those phytotoxins, but also to help them be more digestible. And we've done this for thousands of years, but a lot of things have changed and a lot of the information hasn't been passed on from generation to generation. So in the last, I'd say 50 to 100 years, we've undergone like these changes in our environment and in our foods, also with our medicines and pharmaceuticals that we're now consuming. Our lives have changed, our roles, and I really believe that they've had a devastating effect on our health and well-being. We've also lost this connection, I'd say, our intuitive connection to ourselves, but not only with that, but also with nature and with food and plants, and the fact that we can, within reason, like heal ourselves, and when we're suffering, and we don't feel well, being proactive and doing something about it rather than leaving it for years and years and years, which, most of us tend to do. So with my course as well, what you're going to learn is the importance of nutrition and the quality of the food that we eat, and discover how as a society we've become unhealthy and how our food landscape has changed and evolved. So it's beyond individual diet, it's beyond lifestyle choices. It takes a look at how, also big businesses and politics have kind of contributed to the deterioration of our health of our population. So we're going to look at how we eat foods that are not cooked, that are fresh, that are directly from nature, and also looking back to our ancestors and eating less grains and less produced foods or mass-produced foods. So we're looking at things like soy, wheat, corn, and canola, and the impact of these byproducts and subproducts, and also fructose, corn syrup, vegetable oils, anything that's really processed. When you turn the back of that packet around and you read all those numbers and read all those ingredients, your body, it's not this is okay for me, this is not okay for you. This is kind of a general sweeping statement, but if you don't know what the word is and there's numbers, or like you look at a sauce and the ingredients line is like 50 things in a sauce, you kind of go, is my body able to know what that is? Like when it goes on my tongue or I drink it or eat it, does my body go, oh yeah, I know what this is, and is able to do all the right things it needs to digest it? There's so many different stages in life, and we've got to be able to know what our body needs at that time, but be flexible and change. And sometimes we need more cleansing, and sometimes we need more clearing out, and sometimes we just need more powerful foods. And sometimes we just need to rebuild our bodies. So if you've got hair loss issues, hormonal issues, or if you're struggling with these types of conditions, there's going to be more of a rebuilding effect with what we eat. Or you might be bringing in certain types of fats or another type of product that might be able to benefit you in a different way. So, maybe looking at getting definitely more dark leafy greens. That's something that we could all do. I know I can really double down on our vegetable intake and making sure that we really support our body nutritionally as much as we can and reduce that toxin load as much as possible. So there's so many different ways of eating at different times of our lives for different reasons that we will talk about on this masterclass. And I want you to be able to carry them all with you without a bias approach, and just for you to be able to sit with it and go, okay, that's for me now. I'll take this. I'll take what I need. Because we're looking at all sorts of different nutritional philosophies and ways that they can all come together. And I know once you finish listening to some of these podcast episodes, or you finish doing the course with me, the masterclass, is I'm really confident that you're going to have the capability and the confidence to be able to know what to use and when. And it's just knowledge. Knowledge is power. And it's really important to know that we live in a time that, I know you guys already know this, that there's such an overwhelming, oh my God, overwhelming. I feel like I'm not even doing it justice. The diet industry is just earning billions and billions of dollars selling products and diet products and supplements and protocols. And we really want to detach ourselves from this as much as possible. And what I'm teaching here on these episodes and on my podcast is not about philosophy X and needing product XYZ. It's about understanding how these different philosophies impact our biochemical individuality, and how then when we look at the landscape of natural foods that come from our farms in our local area, and just understanding what food does to our body, because just because it's healthy for one person, guess what? It doesn't mean that it's healthy for us. So I'm just really big on sustainable health, longevity, and healing in your own life. Once you start to do this, the power you bring back to yourself, you feel so powerful, and it's really miraculous on how you can feel and how good it feels taking your power back. So we're going to look at uncovering the truth about food, the food industry, and the additives, and how we can avoid them and build more resilience and independence with this knowledge. And I really hope and believe that I think you're going to find this really interesting and inspiring as I have, and I just, can't wait for this masterclass to start. So when we look at, there's a thing that's called bio-individuality, and it's probably one of the most important nutrition concepts out there, because when you implement this in your life, so when you eat from a place of bio-individuality, what it does is will help you change and improve your health and your life consistently, because it stands the test of time, because from a nutritional approach, it's specific to your body and your individuality. And when we discuss holistic nutrition, this is when we really look at the concept that it's nourishment on all levels. We are all so different, and I was on a podcast a while ago, and the best way for me to describe bio-individuality is if you look at your fingers at the moment, you have a fingerprint. And that fingerprint is just for you. Bio-individuality is like that. Like the foods that you eat are so specific to you, and so specific to you right now in the stage that you're at and what you actually need. Changes all the time. So once we know that, we can also start enjoying food as a source of great pleasure. It has been taken away from us for such a long time with eat this, don't have this, weigh this is bad, this is good. I know you can relate, because I can absolutely relate. I have been there. So bio-individuality is, I really believe, like a flexible approach to nutrition. It's constantly changing because we're constantly changing. So we're really remarkable as human beings. Like we're different, but we're also alike, if that makes sense. And you're probably thinking, oh, Barbs. But also there's so many factors that change the way that we are genetically different too. So you think about it. If we're going back to our ancestry, based upon where we're genetically from, if it's Asia, Africa, Europe, South America, if our ancestors ate and thrived on certain foods, there's a really good chance that we can as well. So if you're European, you probably will do better on foods that are around like the Mediterranean diet. And if you're Asian or Japanese, high fit like fish, rice, and sea vegetables, you will most likely lack the enzyme for digesting dairy more efficiently. It doesn't mean that you can't have it. Like you can't not have anything. I think that's really important to know. It just means that you have to consume it in a different way and a lot less. So say if our ancestors were vegetarian from India, our food system would probably come wired that way. So our internal system is going to come wired, knowing how to best process our legumes and grains and key spices that can really aid in our digestive process. So the idea of using meat as a side portion or as a condiment versus the centerpiece of a meal that's once been used for hundreds, if not thousands of years, there are certain people based on a blood type that extract protein better out of vegetable sources. For example, type A blood type, and you have the type O's that have shorter intestines. They can process meat more quickly and efficiently and have a shorter bowel transit time. So if you look at Italians, if you've come from like a European ancestry, you may do better off with good quality dairy. And also raw dairy that's 100% grass-fed and grass-finished. And that may work for you. But you might have more trouble digesting grains and legumes without doing something to them like soaking them. So if you're using this concept of bio-individuality, it's really important to look at your ancestry and see where you've come from and to work your way back that from your family lineage. We have so much power and control over our health and experience of life with our food and with the way that we approach things. And some of this really goes deeper, as in with the bio-individuality. And then probably the most important one is going to be our stress levels. And we know that we're in a fight, flight, or freeze. When we're having the stress response, which most of us live in on a daily basis, it can really just be, so if you have energy and you're living off stress hormones and you're working and you're not eating, you're passing the baton from your coffee in the morning to the wine at night, and you're using these uppers and downers. That is so stressful for your body. So yes, we live a stressful life, but what I'm trying to say here is that food within our bodies and the way we eat and the way we don't eat can contribute to that stress. So I'm going to say that again. If you're like having coffee in the morning and then wine at night, so you're using the upper, so you're having the coffee to make you feel, awake and up in the morning, and then when you're stressed, you have wine at night to kind of relax you. So the more stress that we have, the more well-cooked, balanced meals that we need with clean animal protein and complex carbohydrates like root vegetables. Because when we use meat, rooted vegetables and fruits as a stabilizing anchor during times of extreme stress, that's really going to help us balance us and our nervous system to feel safe. Whereas if it's something like a raw food cleanse, or you're living on salads and smoothies, you're going to exacerbate that hormonal imbalance and delay your healing. And it's really shocked because so many of my clients say, like, I'm so stressed out and it's getting worse. And I'm eating healthy, like I'm eating salads and smoothies. But that's not grounding. It's not anchoring. It doesn't have enough amino acids and it doesn't have enough of the right type of carbohydrates that are going to turn off your stress response. We need to eat differently based upon our age and our life stage, especially those seasons in womanhood. A woman who's in her fertile years can eat differently than a woman who's actually trying to conceive, than a woman who's pregnant, to a woman who's nursing, to a woman who's in perimenopause and moving into menopause. Then a woman should eat in her 60s, and we're always shifting. We need more protein as we age to keep our muscle. I think that is something that a lot of people do actually know this now, which is great. We're losing testosterone. We need easier to digest foods as we get older because we lose hydrochloric acid production as we age. So we're going to need to consume foods like ginger and apple cider vinegar that are going to replenish and optimize our HCl, our hydrochloric acid. We need clean burning carbs pretty much at any point in our lives. That's so important because the body prefers to run off glucose. The amount of carbs is completely different between all of us. So then there's bio-individuality, and that can be from day to day based upon our stress levels, the demands of your day, high demands, higher carbs, lower demand, lower carbs. Of course, the emotional aspects of life are very much a part of the bio-individuality. And using food as medicine, using food for biological development, and not just as a band-aid or a medication for our own entertainment or to numb anything out, is going to be really important that the appropriate use of food is made. And that's where just knowledge is power. So when we understand the concept of bio-individuality as it relates to you, and you take the time to get to know yourself and your body being like the supercomputer, that's totally amazing. And that you were born inside of that. Literally, it works for you 24 hours a day, and you don't have to tell your heart to beat. You don't have to tell your lungs to breathe. They're always working for you. And if we can start to understand our body, respect our body, and take our power back about how well the body can heal, you're going to free yourself from this, kind of lunacy, like this mentalness of the media saying like one day tomatoes are good for you. Oh, no, they're bad for you. They can kill you. One day coffee's amazing to prevent dementia. And then the next day they're like, nope, that can kill you. Meat causes cancer and only eat meat because it's the only way you can lose weight. So it's just, there's so much opposition out there. But the truth lies in your own body, and that the truth will change throughout your life as you age, as stress levels change, as activity levels change, all kinds of things. And the only thing constant in our life is change. So there's an overview of the popular diets. You've got vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean, gluten-free, dairy-free, paleo, ketogenic. And, when I studied nutrition, we were taught, and I really liked this view too, that none of these are the best way, but it's rather the qualitarian diet. And I loved the qualitarian diet. Let me share what that is with you. So qualitarian is all about eating high quality foods. So if you can get some organic foods, that's fantastic. And I'm going to go through more of this in my masterclass. But there's some foods that you can get away with. You don't need to buy organic. So there's so many hacks around this. So you're eating high quality food. If it's animal products that like it's high quality, anything you eat. I'm going around in circles here, but I'm just trying to say that the qualitarian diet is everything that you eat is of high quality. So I think the best way is, after this episode, is to really take advantage of your bio-individuality. Because if you've clicked on this, you've gone Nutrition 101, and I can guarantee you're like, oh, cool, Barbara's going to share with us what we can eat or what's the right thing to eat. I'm going to share all that in the masterclass, but in here, we've kind of talked about the bio-individuality. And the good news is that you've got 24-hour access to this. It's like the best laboratory in the world, which is your body for testing. Test your body, how food affects you in your health. It's just such a powerful computer. So just by keeping a food mood journal, as you go through these nutrition episodes with me, or as you go through the masterclass with me, pay close attention to the signs and signals that you, and this will be hard if you've never done it before, it's not going to be easy. Pay close attention to the signs and signals that your body sends you each and every meal, and how you feel before, how you feel during, how you feel after, and how you feel an hour or two after, and how you feel the next day. And the choices that you make, and also the thoughts that you're thinking as you're having that. Can you see? Most people go, oh, I don't want to do that. But you don't have to do this forever. It's just at the beginning part, because once you can respond accordingly to what your body's trying to tell you. So every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So everything you're inputting into your body, it is responding to, and you have all the power in the world to build a healthy, happy relationship with your body, to give it what it needs so it can in turn give you a beautiful, happy, balanced body through life. And I just want you to repeat something after me. I can trust my body. I can trust my body. Many of us have been sick for a really long time and losing that ability to trust our own bodies. But honestly, when we look at nature and the animals for answers on how to execute this, I just love talking about this because it goes on by your instinct and goes on by your intuition. And it's just far more on than somebody telling you what to do. So if you can get your mind out of the way and really learn to tune into your body, you're going to start to know, like I always say to myself, okay, I'm hungry. Now, what would this meal feel in my body at this point? No, salad's probably going to make me feel, blah. It might make my stomach hurt. I'm having a too busy day right now. So if it's the weekend, I tend to digest, raw food much better because I'm not as stressed as when I'm in the middle of a work day. So you really need to start checking in with yourself and keeping it really simple. Our ancestors knew what to do. They gathered local organic foods that were in season. But now we're distracted with foods coming in from all around the world, no matter what season it is. And some people don't even know what seasonal fruits are anymore because they're eating everything throughout the whole year. Don't lose touch with your body's natural instincts. I invite you to go through these nutrition episodes, and if you can, join me on the masterclass. I want you to explore the lab of your human body and know that dis-ease manifests in 4 ways: congestion, stagnation, depletion, and deficiency. Too much bad stuff, not enough exercise, circulation, too many chemicals from food, from thoughts, from the environment, from technology causes congestion and stagnation, depletion, and deficiency. We're really running ourselves ragged and we're not completely nourished. We've got vitamin and mineral deficiencies that stack up upon themselves, causing a domino effect that ultimately leads us to disease. If you address these 4 pillars with food and lifestyle, you can really make sure that your body is cleansed and flowing, full in deficiencies, and fully nourished. There's so many things, or so many more things I can talk about to do with our digestive system, inflammatory foods, and so on. But for now, what I'm going to do is sign off here. And if you do have any questions or anything you want to ask me about today's episode, please let me know. But it was just an introduction into nutrition and how food is part of our holistic lifestyle and how it's really entwined with our stress and with our thoughts. So your thoughts and our stress and what we eat and how we move our body is all related. So I hope this episode has been helpful. I'll be back again soon to talk about all sorts of other things to do with nutrition, health, and wellness. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope this conversation has added value to your self-care journey and inspired positive changes in your life. If you enjoyed this episode, consider sharing it with a friend who might benefit from this episode. Don't forget to subscribe on Spotify or on your favourite podcast platform to stay up to date on future episodes. Your support means the world to me. I genuinely love hearing from you, so please take a moment to leave a review. Let me know which part of today's episode resonated with you the most. Your feedback guides the direction of this podcast, and I really appreciate each and every single one of you for being a part of this community. To fall in love with yourself is the first secret to happiness. To find out a bit more about the Studio Chat podcast, head over to my Instagram page, Studio Chat Podcast, or if you want to find out a bit more about my counselling private practice, head over to Instagram on self_care_studio, or head over to my website, selfcarebybarbarathompson.com.au. I'm really looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. Until next time, take care of yourselves and keep embracing the journey of self-discovery.